Energetic, passionate, and savvy. Gouche Live. Brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Gouche.
Welcome to another episode of Gouche Live. I am wearing the 38th annual International Cup for Johnson & Johnson. Paul Rosen, one of my favorite people, is going to join me in a few seconds. And right after him is another one of my God, I got a lot of favorite people, but these two are a top. Like they're 1A, 1B. Paul will love that one. This is the jersey the boys are going to be wearing down in the Johnson & Johnson event that we're going to Philadelphia. Rosen will join me. Kendra Fisher will join me. We will have a bunch of the Philadelphia Flyers there. It will be a game of games, and we're so honored and happy that we finally get on a flight, get to Philadelphia, and the Johnson & Johnson crew has 20 teams waiting for us. They're going to raise a bunch of money for obviously Stop Concussions, and Paul Rosen being our lead, and going to be just an absolutely amazing event. Hey, this has been brought to you by those good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Buzz TV. I'm not at the bottom line tonight. I will not be tomorrow night. I'll be in Philadelphia coming live with Jordan LaRoche. He will be taking over the Gouche Live as the Toronto Maple Leafs go up against the Tampa Bay Lightning in Game 6. And they're leading at 3-2. And nobody better than this man knows what's going on is Paul Rosen. Rosie, what's going on?
Hey, good. First of all, for everybody watching, I haven't been on in so long, and you are contractually obligated to say nice things about me. I thought Kendra Fisher was the new Paul Rosen. I see her on every week.
Well, you know why? She lives right downtown. And I got to tell you, she's calling me nonstop. When she's not working, she wants to, and she's great. So, hey, listen, I'd love to have you two on together. That would be holy Jesus.
I tell you one thing, for anybody that's going to be in Philly for the Johnson & Johnson, which is an incredible event. I love the company. I love everybody there. They care so much about mental health and about Stop Concussions. But if you're there and you get a chance to come to the celebrity game and watch Kendra Fisher in goal, she is quite the goaltender.
Hey, and don't forget, there's a couple other cast and crews that are coming. Of course, Jeff Carlson, one of the Hanson brothers. You can be a Hanson for the day because we've also got Dave Hanson. And you know what? I snuck that other kid in. Dave's son is coming along. Christian Hansen will be playing.
One of my favorite. I haven't seen him in years.
You will see him. Of course, Angela James was coming down. Unfortunately, there was a COVID situation with her family. She will not be traveling with us. Kelsey Colser, a great NCAA player, will be joining us. And, of course, your favorite, my favorite, everybody's our favorite, Brian Propp is going to be there. Andre Faust is going to be there.
Hey, you remember 3 years ago when Proper came and he scored the goal and the guy two-handed him? I can't remember who did it, but
it was ugly. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward. We're getting on a flight tomorrow together, buddy. We haven't done that for a long time.
Yes.
We'll be going down there raising not only money, but awareness. The jerseys look great. They've all got 38 on the back, no names, because it's all in honor of people that are suffering. And as everybody knows, Paul would never give up. You've been through it, and you're one of our biggest ambassadors. So is this not a great playoff season? Like, it has been entertaining pure.
This is why when people tell me that they don't like hockey, I want to just go crazy. Hockey's the greatest game in the world. And why it's the greatest game in the world is because I don't care what type of expert you are, how much you know, when the playoffs start, put it in the wash, turn it on rinse, and just watch, because you never know. I'm wrong on almost every game so far, man. I thought the Rangers were going to kill Pittsburgh. I thought Tampa was going to kill Toronto. I thought, Edmonton was going to put up more of a fight, even though they're not out of it. And basically, I knew Colorado was so good, but Nashville basically didn't even show up.
And Florida taking a tough road against the Washington Capitals. Calgary struggling a little bit with Dallas. It's just been unbelievable.
St. Louis. I thought Minnesota was going to walk on St. Louis.
It's been unbelievable. And I even thought Boston put up a good fight, but I think this one's done. Sorry, James Murphy, but I think Boston is done with Carolina. Carolina's shown their moxie. But because I have you, and you are a goaltender expert, I want to ask you this question. The Pittsburgh Penguins, you can go back on the film. I did say that the Pittsburgh Penguins were going to beat Jordan LaRoche's New York Rangers. It was a tough one because, I thought this Rangers team was built to, go deep in the playoffs. But I just had this feeling, and my feeling was that it's the last hurrah, in my opinion, for Malkin, Crosby, and Letang. And, they've got a good cast of crew. People forget Gensel. This guy's lights out, but he is
Right.
playing Crosby. Carter's been unbelievable. Rodriguez,
huge goals.
But I thought just because of that Malkin, Crosby, Letang factor, I thought they were going to win. But I didn't realize it would be, and I think we're going to get a sponsor, a spicy pork sponsor. I didn't believe it would be Jari's out, Smith is out, and Domingue comes in. And the funniest thing, and you probably have a story about this, it's the second intermission, and I talked to James Murphy, who's coming up right after you. I got to sit down with him this afternoon. During the second intermission, he eats some spicy pork and broccoli, and he's been lights out. And nobody thought that they would win after that. I thought, oh my God, this is over quickly. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, just for what you said about Letang and Malkin and Crosby, that's why I went with the Rangers. Shesterkin, who had an amazing year, Vezina Trophy, and he'll get some votes for MVP. I think he should, anyways. The guys that are playing so well on that team right now, I thought with the goaltending that Pittsburgh was going to have to put up, they had no chance. And the crazy thing, Gooch, and everybody watching, is that just when you think a team has no chance, that's when somebody makes a name for themselves. Just like it's happened over the years. Somebody comes out of nowhere in the playoffs, boom, goes on a ride. Patrick Waugh at the beginning in '93 goes on a ride, wins the Stanley Cup. Murray for the Penguins when he took over for Fleury, boom, wins the Stanley Cup. But Domingue, I'm telling you, this guy, he, you know what? He may fall apart the next 3 games. Who knows? There's so much pressure. Or people would say maybe there's no pressure on him. But I just think he's playing so loose, and he has a chance to do something that he's dreamed about his whole life. And you got to give the kid credit. He has played great. And as for the spicy pork, I'll tell you a funny story. We were playing the U.S. a long time ago, like 2005, in Colorado Springs, and I had some very not good food about an hour before the game, and we went through the warm-up. We did the first period. We got in the intermission, and everybody's looking around. Where's Rosie? And our assistant coach, Sean Freiberg, comes. I'm in the toilet in the bathroom, and I got explosive diarrhea from whatever I ate. I don't know what it was. It was not good. And my backup, Benny, had to go in for the second and third because I didn't get out of the toilet until we were ready to get to the bus.
That's crazy. We've heard so many stories, but you know what? As a goaltender too, you're up and down and you're moving parts that it's got bad in the.
You remember? Sorry to interrupt you. You remember Roberto Luongo? He did it once. He had to go to the bathroom, and he took on a whistle. He took off. They didn't know where he went, and Schneider had to come in, and he was gone for like 8 minutes. And later they said, "Well, where'd you go? What happened?" He goes, "I have to go to the bathroom." And as a goalie, you got to go. You got to go.
And it takes a little bit of time to get all that stuff off. We got some comments. Thank you, Joffrey. I think that's how you say it. Gardner, you're throwing it in my face. Yes, I know. I do a program called Gouche Live. We talk about the NHL. Joffrey, I guess that's how you say it. I know that the LA Kings are up 3-2. And there's a couple of more comments about the Leafs, so we'll talk about this one. Let's get into those Edmonton Oilers. Mike Smith has done his job. He's been okay. But, oh, my God, this is up and down like a yo-yo. I know Joffrey's saying this because I did think that Edmonton was going to make quick work of the LA Kings. I just didn't see them having the firepower, but full marks to them. They look very, very good.
Yeah, that's one of the few ones that I did call LA in 7, but I called them in such a shock. I still really thought that this was Edmonton's year with everything they have and what's going on. But there's some guys that on LA that have really, really impressed me. The big kid defenseman, I can't remember his name now. Not Byfield, the other kid. He's like 6'9". Oh my God, I'm having a brain cramp right now.
That's all right. That's all right.
Incredible, and Jonathan Quick coming back and to old quickness when he played with the U.S. national team when they won the 2 cups, and then Dustin Brown have a chance to go out as like 23 years and the things that he's done for the
Well,
LA
can I
Kings.
interject there? Because I wanted to. It's almost like these rallying points, right?
Yeah.
Domingo in the net. The team knows they got to play around him. Dustin Brown saying this is it for him. It seems like all of a sudden everybody's just kind of, God, if Connor McDavid was leaving the game, I'm sure the Edmonton Oilers would be playing a little bit better. But you know that teams rally around certain points that we sometimes scratch our head. That's it, and it is it.
You know what? And it comes to the most incredible thing when a team, from the teams you played. Hey, listen, Jeff Snyder, our coach with the national team, his nephew, Dan Snyder, the great late Dan Snyder, died in a car accident with Dan Heatley. We were going into a gold medal game in 2006, the last time Canada's won it, against Norway. No chance to win. And Dan's brother, Jeff's brother, came into our dressing room with the armband that Dan had on his hand when they were going to bury him, put it on our captain's wrist. And if you don't tell me that didn't take our team to a level of insanity when we won the gold medal, this kind of stuff, for people that don't understand sport, this kind of stuff can take an average team beyond the next level.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Joffrey, let me know. Is it Joffrey or Jeffrey? I hate to say your name wrong. I'm usually saying Russian names wrong. I shouldn't be doing. Still love you, Kerry. You're the best. This series is not over. No. Edmonton, LA is not over. A lot of these series are not over. Toronto, Tampa, which we're going to get on in a second, it ain't over. Pittsburgh, New York, it's over. It's over. And obviously, Boston, Carolina.
Real quick, Michel Goulet was a good friend of mine back in the day in '91 when they played St. Louis in the second round. They went on to go to the Stanley Cup final and lost 4 straight to Pittsburgh, even though that was a Jagger Lemieux team that beat them 4 straight, but all 1-goal games. Chicago's goaltending was Ed Belfour and Dominic Hasek, if you can remember all that. They had an incredible team, but they were down 3-1 against St. Louis in the second round. And I remember Mike Keenan, who was coaching them, said something in the press. He goes, listen, it's not over till they win 4 or we lose 4. Remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, well, let's move on to, obviously, everybody's waiting with bated breath to hear your opinion on Jack Campbell, who we have sold a couple times down the river, saying he's frail. After 2-0 yesterday, I thought, oh boy, this is going to be ugly. I left the bottom line. The place was rocking. Paul, when I get back next week, if the Game 7 is going to be Saturday, you and I are in. If it is a Game 7, we'll be. But if they move onwards, you got to be down. We'll get you on one of the shows. The bottom line rocks, like unbelievable, that place. And I left it early after 2-0 thinking, oh boy, this is going to be a shell shocking. And we saw what happened. And here is Mark Weber. You've met Mark in Melbourne. Gouche tested positive for COVID yesterday. He's in ISO. Sorry to hear that, buddy. And then he's asking the question, how are the Leafs doing? And I'll tell you what, here's our buddy Al Kerr saying, I can't believe LA is only one win away. You and I both, you thought LA would win it. I thought Edmonton. Carolina is going to 7 games. Toronto is finishing the series tomorrow night. Carolina is not going to 7 games. That's done. That's toasted. Toronto is finishing the series tomorrow night. I'm going to be skeptical. I do not. You know what? You said it best. You've got the champions on the rope, and this is where you're going to see who the best is on that team. And it will end up being Toronto versus Colorado for the Cup. I'll tell you what, Al, I may go on that Speedo bet afterwards because
I'll say right now to Al, if it's Colorado and the Leafs in the Stanley Cup final, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something that is going to be so crazy against what I would normally do. Yeah. We haven't figured it out yet. Maybe I'll eat my hat.
You and I will stand out front of the bottom line in Speedos.
No, that I'll never do because I won't show anybody me without a shirt on ever. So I won't do that. But
we'll wear tops, so.
We'll do a one piece, like a Speedo one piece.
Do
you want my thoughts on Campbell?
Yeah, people are going to get sick. Here it is. Campbell was outstanding for 2 periods. Obviously, the question here is, or at the beginning of it all, the way the Leafs are going to win this is if they get secondary scoring, and the boys showed up. Matthews, Marner have showed up, secondary scoring showed up. Then the question would be, could Campbell outplay Vazzy? And right now, I'll tell you what, he's certainly showing signs of it.
Well, I'm going to say something that Leaf fans may hate me, and that's cool. I don't care. To me, Jack Campbell is two people. He's Jack Campbell and Jill Campbell, Jack and Jill. So when he's Jack Campbell, he plays like a couple of huge stops last night when it was 3-3 that easily could have given the Tampa Bay Lightning that 4-3, and then it would have been over. But he gave the Leafs a chance to get Matthews the 4-3 goal and win it. When he's Jill Campbell, and this is nothing against women goaltenders because they are phenomenal, but when he's the different personality, that's when he lets that goal in from 25 feet out that my mother could save in its glove, and it leaks in. He has been two people. When he's on, the Leafs could go a long way. They will not win the Stanley Cup as far as I'm concerned. I think they can beat Tampa, but he has to be on. And he's been two different people. He's been brutal and he's been excellent. He's never been in between. They need him to be excellent to win in 6. Tampa has never lost back-to-back games, so I do believe it's coming back in 7. I think the Leafs can win in 7 because you flip a coin in Game 7.
I did the 1A, 1B, as you know I always do.
Always.
I said 1B, Tampa in 6. 1B was Toronto in 7. I just think they'll get the monkey off the back. But let's not forget the Tampa Bay Lightning are 2-time Stanley Cup champions for a reason, and they know how to win when they need it. So I want to ask you about last night, watching this team play and watching Matthews and Marner struggle a little bit in the first period. The whole team struggling. And then Nylander stepped up and played, I think, one of his best playoff games, a goal and 2 assists, 60 minutes in play. A lot of people were down deep on Johnny Tavares. JT showed up, got a nice goal and an assist for 17 minutes. And then, of course, Matthews scores on an incredible slap shot pass by Marner. It was almost like it was planned. Your overall thoughts on this makeup of the Toronto Maple Leafs? They didn't show up in Game 4, and they showed up in the second and third period because they didn't show up in the first period yesterday, but in the last 2 periods, they were lights out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you're paying 4 players that kind of money, they have to show up. So John Tavares, I'm still not sold on him being his worth, although he played a lot better. Marner and Matthews, I've got no issue with them, even when they're not 100%. They are game breakers at any time. Matthews has proven all the naysayers with his 60 goals and the way he's playing in that big goal to take the 4-3 lead. But I think the biggest person here, and I think your buddy Darren Lucky, he should be coming on and saying, you know, his apologies, maybe, I don't know, to Nylander, because he has looked phenomenal. That goal that he scored, that rocket goal that he scored off the far side post, you know, I'm not a massive fan of his when he doesn't come to play, but you cannot question his talent when he comes to play.
Hey, listen, you're listening to Gouche Live with my good buddy, Paul Rosen. We'll be in Philadelphia tomorrow. We'll be taking on Game 5 out of Philly. We'll be with Jordan. We'll be talking everything hockey. Hey, listen, a couple, before I let you go, there's a couple things. I like Joffrey's point here. My ultra ego would love to see another round of the Battle of Alberta West. That would be fantastic. It's the modern version of the Civil War. Chris Patterson says he thinks it's going 7. He's talking about Toronto, and he's a big Toronto fan. Talking Toronto, Tampa. Mark Weber out of Melbourne. Wow, it's a seesaw battle, no question. Hey, Kerry, you're hedging your bets. And the final one, comments for tonight. Good on Spezza for talking with the team. I think that's where I wanted to go with it. Thank you for setting it up for me, Al. I wanted to go there. There's always that moment when a veteran, there's a reason why Jason Spezza is on this club. They sat him out the first 2 games. Keith came to his senses, realized, I got to have this veteran leadership. They put him in there, and he calmed the waters. He knew what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And certainly we have to give him a huge, huge compliment. He is a true leader.
Yeah, you know what? He's a winner without being a winner. And by saying that, I mean he's never won a Stanley Cup, but he is a winner. He knows how to win. He's played great levels of hockey from going back to the Brampton Battalion back in the day. And he knows how to get a team motivated. The only thing I don't like, and I'd like to get your view on this, Gooch, is I don't think the public had to know. Like, when there's stuff like that, we've had it in our dressing room. We've gone into a big tournament, whether it was me or Greg Westlake, just going nuts and screaming at the guys or getting them going or whatever. I think that is better off just left in the room. I don't think the public had to know that, Jason Spezza got the team going and then they got going and they won it. It's just me. I don't know how you feel, but I think that stays in the team, in my opinion, anyways.
Well, the unfortunate part is all or nothing. You remember they wanted to show the behind the scenes with these things today, and everybody's so focused and everything goes out really quickly. Back in our day, yes, nobody would discuss what went on. You'd hardly even say, if somebody came back during the second intermission, all of a sudden the team played lights out. They didn't even talk about what the coach said. Now everything's an open book. Everybody's got their clean laundry and dirty laundry, and they just let us watch the washing machine go around and around, and we figure it out. That I didn't like it. I didn't hate it, but the one I didn't like was obviously Keefe with Campbell the other night, and that whole thing. That the optics were bad. Hey, Paul, I got to come to you. What are your thoughts? Is this going 7, or do you think it's over tomorrow?
I think it's going 7. I think the Leafs can win in 7. It would not surprise me if they won in 6. But if you're putting me on the spot, I'm saying Tampa's going to win in Tampa. They're not going to kill the Leafs, but they're going to win in Tampa to send it back to a game 7. And then anything's possible. For the sake of all the Leaf fans that have suffered for 17 years of never getting out of a first round, I don't think this team is going past the next round if they take Tampa out. I don't think Tampa's going by the next round if they take the Leafs out. But if they do win this series, at least it gives the Leaf crazy fans an opportunity to say, we're out of the first round and maybe next year.
Well, you heard it best. Paul Rosen, I will see you tomorrow at the airport. We will be flying down Philadelphia. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we'll keep you all abreast of what's going on. We'll be back on Thursday, tomorrow night, as we set it up for the Tampa Bay versus Toronto Maple Leafs. It is going to be dynamic.
Hey, maybe we'll do a quick show after the game.
That's a good idea, too. Let's see how that works out. Paul Rosen, thank you, bud.
Take care, Gooch.
Hey, listen, you think Paul Rosen's got motion? Holy Jesus. James Murphy's coming up. 100% that's a team issue. Keep it behind closed doors. Thank you. Chris Patterson. Spezza plays for the love of hockey, not the money. He loves the game. I think the boys look up to him big time, no question. And, of course, Al Kerr is saying, go Leafs, go. And I think Paul has hit it perfectly. I think it's Game 6, Tampa. And I did say the Toronto Maple Leafs will take Game 7, and I'm really looking forward to that. And Paul and the boys will be looking and watching tomorrow night from Tampa Bay. Hey, listen, we are so lucky to have 2 great guests, Paul Rosen and now the one and only, Hey, as promised, I got you. It took me a while. I had to tie this guy down. He is the busiest man in North America when it comes to hockey. I promise you, James Murphy, and that one and only style that he's got, James Murphy. James, what's going on?
Hey, Gooch, how you doing, my man?
Hey, thank you for joining me. I know it was a really rushed situation. We're going to get together in Philadelphia. You're just too busy, and the reasons are you're going to talk to me about these things. Boston series, Montreal first overall. How do you feel about that? Leafs, Tampa, I'm shocked. I want to hear your thoughts. And then just general, something crazy is going on with PK Subban. Love to hear that. All right, Boston series, give me it. 5-1 loss last night. Are they in trouble? Is it over?
Oh, of course they're in trouble. I don't know, though, if it's over. I mean, look, I got the feeling like this whole series to me has kind of been a dichotomy of where the Bruins are, where they stand right now as a franchise and as an organization and where they're headed. And I mean, they're at the end of the road for the Bergeron and the Marchand tandem there. Marchand's obviously going to come back, but I really got a gut feeling that, tomorrow could be Patrice Bergeron's last home game, win or lose. And I think he's moving on, and I think the team knows that. The team's feeling it. And so that's why I think we do see a game 7. I think it's sort of like the last stand there. And then who knows? Then it can happen in game 7. Maybe they get lucky and that last stand extends. But just the way the series has been going in terms of the home ice, right? I mean, each team has been a completely different team on home
It's
ice.
unbelievable, yeah.
And they're also, the home team has a ton more penalty calls in their favor and get racking up the power plays. And I mean, that's kind of been one of, if not the most decisive factors in this series right now. The only thing I will say, though, that's really scary for the Bruins is they are just getting completely outplayed 5-on-5. And Patrice Bergeron's getting schooled at the dot by Jordan Staal. And I don't think I've said that in his 18 years of being in the NHL. I don't think I've ever said the words Patrice Bergeron is getting schooled at anything. So, that tells you what the difference has been in this series.
All right, 2 things. Bergeron, Montreal. And the second thing, is that the Bobby Orr picture behind you?
It is, my man. And yesterday was the anniversary of that goal, 52 years. And but it's a good background I picked up. It's the old Fours Pub in Boston. It's a virtual background there. But that was a great place for all the people out there who don't know. It was an old sports bar right across from the Garden. And a lot of, back in the day, the Bruins players would actually hang out in there with the reporters. That's how the reporters worked all their scoops,
Unbelievable, eh? That was
really
that was a good old day. So a scoop really quickly. You mentioned that it could be possibly Bergeron's last season in Boston. Any thoughts? I think we've talked about this before. Could Montreal be in the future?
Well, I don't know if they're going to be in it. I really think it's either Boston or he retires, one or the other.
Okay.
I do, though. I don't think there's no doubt in my mind that his former agent, now the GM in Montreal, Kent Hughes, is already kind of trying to grease the skids for that. But I don't think it's going to happen. And, people are like, there's a narrative out there sometimes from a lot of Canadians fans. Oh, well, he's French Canadian. He's from Quebec.
Yeah. Well, we hear that.
Well, here's a news flash for anyone that doesn't know. But Patrice Bergeron absolutely hated the Montreal Canadiens growing up. You got to remember where he's from. He's from Quebec City, man. He was a Nordiques fan. He despised the kid. The second interview I ever did with the kid when 18 years old talked about that, man. And he's like, I can never stand it. And I'm so happy I come to their drive. I'm going to burn them.
Okay, well, all right.
It was great.
There's a little bit of rumor, and you know what? You can go to Boston Hockey Now, and of course Montreal Hockey Now, and get the scoop from James Murphy. Unbelievable. So let's get to Montreal. Unbelievable that they won the first overall.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to go south, but tell me about this. How much excitement is in Montreal right now?
Well, look, I'll tell you what. I think this excitement has already been building and sort of get this reinvigoration of the franchise, of the fan base, the city. It all started back when they brought Kent Hughes in, or even back to Jeff Gorton, rather, and then Kent Hughes, and then Marty St. Louis, of course, really accelerated, I think, a lot faster than people expected. So now all of a sudden, they're going in now and they go into this lottery. I mean, if they hadn't got that top pick, they still could have got a good player, but mentally, in terms of the momentum they've been getting and the culture they've been building so fast here, I think it kind of would have went backwards. So thank God for them. They got that number 1 pick. It's a great emotional boost and confidence boost for the franchise. And, it's going to be Shane Wright and right, pun intended, rightfully so. I mean, they need to get this guy right now. He's a lot of people already comparing him to a Patrice Bergeron. And, if that's the case, if he's got some Bergeron in him and they've got already Nick Suzuki, who is definitely, in my opinion, a Bergeron clone, and Suzuki idolizes the guy. Yeah. That's going to be a pretty good 1-2 punch. And then you figure with all the picks they have and the trades they can make, they'll get another high-scoring center somewhere. Even Dvorak could pick it up, man. He picked it up down the stretch there. So I wouldn't give up on him there. But I think the future's a lot brighter than it once seemed in Montreal. If you had asked me this back in December versus now, it's a lot brighter.
Listen, and he's 6'1", 185. He'll build out. Only 18 years old.
He's already a Canadiens fan, too.
That's right. Hey, listen, of course, I'm not going to talk about it. I hope to get you on Monday. And the reason is I want to talk about, obviously, what's going on with St. Louis. Why hasn't it been signed? And, of course, with Barry Trotz. If you don't mind, I'll leave that there. I want to go to, obviously, Leafs Tampa Bay. I know you've been watching it. Are you believing this? Because I'll tell you what, I do not. After 2-0 down, I thought Tampa Bay would shut this down and be 3-1. Your thoughts?
No, you know what? Look, this is finally we saw something between the ears and between the legs for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the playoffs here. That was probably one. I'm telling you, Dupes, whether they go on to win Gouche, whether they go on to win the cup or not. I picked them to get to the final, by the way, and lose to the Avalanche. But whether that happens or not, people will look back on that game last night as maybe a turning point to where that young core, Marner, Matthews, all those guys finally, and even Tavares will throw in there. I know he's not that young, but finally got over the hump and won a clutch game. And that was huge. And I think right now, I think they, it's a tough out with the Tampa Bay Lightning because you got the heart of a champion there. And
this is not over, James.
This is not over. It's coming back to Toronto in 7. I picked the Leafs in 7, and I'm staying with that. But I'll give them all the credit in the world. Yeah. That was an amazing comeback and a great story there about Jason Spezza standing up in front of the team. And that's what you need. You need leadership. And obviously, that's what's been lacking since 2004. So now maybe they have it.
Tavares stepped up. Nylander stepped up. And, of course, on stage, who else than their big stud? Matthews scores a winner off a phenomenal pass shot by Marner. All right, listen, I want to go around really quickly on the NHL. Obviously, Marleau has retired. I know you know that. Unbelievable. Should be a Hall of Famer. I want to ask you a very important question, though. There was something that was kind of strange, and you had thrown it by me a little bit earlier when we were talking on the green screen. This PK Subban story. I think it's going to get bigger than what it is. Tell us about it.
Yeah, look, I'm trying to walk the line politically and just what's wrong and what's right in this world and in this country and your country and everything in culture right now. But it's hard not to kind of cross over into it when, you have a player in Tony DeAngelo who has just been notorious for racial and homophobic slurs, was suspended twice over such things and has been on Twitter spitting that stuff out, and he quotes a lot of QAnon theories, and he supported the violence at January 6th at the Capitol here in the United States. And look, like I said, I'm not judging the presidents. I'm not getting into all that, Trump versus Biden, all that. I just deal in what's right and what's wrong, and neither of those things are right. I mean, morally right. And now, to me, it just shows you what money can do. You've got an African American or, an African Canadian here, a black player who has dealt with racism directly, has had it been brought on by him. And in my hometown, in my city, I witnessed it with what happened in 2014. I'm sure he's dealt with it and still deals with it on the ice, whether the NHL will admit it or not. That stuff still goes on, unfortunately. And he comes out and calls this basically white supremacist a good guy. I mean, how tone deaf are you, PK? And really, what are you doing for all the strides that you yourself have tried to help this game take in racial equality and installing that in our game, in our locker rooms, in the culture of the game? And you do this for a shill because ESPN tells you to, and they want to focus on him? I just thought it was disgusting.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be bigger. This isn't over. We're going to hear more about this. And of course, on Monday, I want to get you on at least front part of the week. We'll talk about all these inner makings that are going on. But my final question to you is I need to know this. Pittsburgh Penguins and, of course, the New York Rangers. Shesterkin, it looked like he's forgotten how to play goal. But a lot of those tips were difficult saves, no question.